The atmosphere in Hutton is a little smoky this evening, as if the whole station had been used to prepare kippers. Though, strangely, the only chair that smells of fish has Apology Officer written on the back. Pilots hang out in the bar, regaling each other with tales of how they rescued ungrateful passengers from burning stations. And, yes, doesn't the green goo on the outside contrast well with the colour of the fiery interior? The docking pads are in constant use, as pilots land, refuel, wave a weary 07, and take off again. Through the haze strides a group of strong characters, walking purposefully down the corridor, their shoulders erect, their stance confident, as if they were auditioning for the right stuff. As the smoke swirls around them, making them even more attractive than they were before, if that's possible. And behind them are the presenters, who scuttle into Studio 5 and take their seats just in time to hear.
Our mic's alive! Good evening once again, and welcome to Hutton Orbital Live. After the excitement of last week, we're looking forward to a slow news week, putting our feet up and having just a little banter.
I take it you've not been keeping an eye on things.
There's no way we can top last week, is there?
Just you wait, it sounds like there's more chucking than we've seen in a long time. All sorts going on.
Ooh, did you say all sorts? I love licorice.
You silly boy. I mean, there's lots going on.
And just to prove Norma right, here are the headlines.
Last night? I'll be lucky if I can last until the interval.
'Twas on the good ship Venus. My God, you should have smelt us.
Hotbox has a hard election and it could swing either way.
We wave a fond farewell to a well-loved sight in our skies.
Harold takes one for the team.
The Underground Overground Railroad runs rings around evacuation.
Is it right to have a bubble with this many people, even if everything is well?
I spy with my little eye something beginning with C. Yes, community.
Despite all of the brouhaha surrounding the last night of the mugs, and whether or not it would include words or just subtitles for the resounding chorus, in the end the event went off without a hitch, despite starting with a little rattle. One of the performers was nearly late because she had to get a baby sitar, and at least one of the players was harpist. No one knew whether the event would be spoiled without all the posh people bobbing up and down in time to a tune that only they can hear, or comically sounding a horn at inappropriate moments, like a manic vuvuzela salesman, or having to pay £20 for a glass of something fizzy and inoffensive. Still, with the organist pulling out all the stops, Stephen Benedetti's sister Nicola having a lark whilst playing, even though her Scottish accent's no better than his, and she was missing out on liquidating in his hot tub, and both of the audience members singing "The profit margin never really mattered at all" for all they were worth at the end, this year's event finished on a high note, as could be expected, even if it was only Alvin that could hear it.
Historians have unearthed an old document from the year 2020 when they were speculating about the possible causes of gases in the upper atmosphere of Venus, specifically the gas phosphine. There has been some corruption of the file over the last millennium, but from the fragments that they've managed to put together, they believed that the gas was caused by flying penguins, though no explanation was forthcoming over how the penguins got to Venus. As to date, no conclusive evidence has ever been found for a sphenocytic space program, except for the vague suggestion that they may have made their rockets from millions of small, chocolate-scented pieces of aluminium bearing their image. Our extensive research did initially lead us down what was almost literally a blind alley, as misspelling phosphine with an E led us to spend much time investigating the other phosphine, which is where you can think that you see light if you rub on your closed eyes or by taking certain drugs. Seeing things that are not there is one of our specialities, but after a few hours of rubbing various substances into our eyes, we decided that we needed another approach. Using Occam's razor tells us that A. Occam did not have a beard, and B. to always go for the simplest explanation. So we can conclusively reveal that the noxious gases are present on Venus because that's where Simu's ancestors originated. So we can conclusively reveal that the noxious gases are present on Venus because that's where Simu's ancestors originated. So we can conclusively reveal that the noxious gases are present problems, on Venus chaps? Because that's where Simu's ancestors
You're repeating on us.
So we can conclusively reveal that the noxious gases are present problems, on Venus because that's where Simu's
Did you miss the end of the sentence?
You're repeating on us.
So we can conclusively reveal that the tech problem.
Is it Groundhog Day again already?
Shall I do that again?
Is it Groundhog Day again already?
Is it Groundhog Day?
We can conclusively reveal that the noxious gases are present on Venus because that's where Simu's ancestors originated, and that they must have moved to Glasgow at some point in their evolution, due to the misunderstanding about being able to see Uranus without a telescope.
How dare you? Hotbox is a hard election and it could swing either way. I didn't say erection on the radio, that's good, isn't it? Hi, I'm back again with another apology. Whoa, wait. It isn't an apology this time, it's some actual news. Good news even. Hotbox elections have started. Well, good news apart from that misspelling. The grammar and spelling pedants have been on the comm non-stop ever since the post went live. Yes, you are right. It should have said gentlemen and not gentlemen. On behalf of Hutton, and Hutton in general, and Hotbox specifically, I am very, very sorry. We will all hang our heads for a minute of shared shame. Nominations went live on Monday for the next Hotbox leader, or Hotboss, due to the current one failing his last psych eval. Apparently wearing a canary yellow flight suit and singing My Little Buttercup while doing the backstroke along the parade means you can't be in charge of Hotbox anymore. I mean, who knew? We also have to observe the bylaws for the constituency of O'Connell City and Van Manen Star, which dictate that we have to have a new leader every solar year. Nominations close on Monday 21st for Hotbox commanders to lumber their friends with the Hot Boss title for a year. This year's nominations are Paul Jarrett Hayes with the slogan "Shawside is on your side", Stephen Birch with the guilt-provoking "I won't win", Andrew Swaziland with "Swaziland, so good they named the country after me", Robert Burns with the slogan "What do you mean indecency? It should be gross indecency, look at the size of it", and oh no, some doughbender nominated me. What's that all about? Look, if you hate me that much, why don't you just come round and post some dog poo through my letterbox like a normal person? You big fish biscuit. Fine, I'll go with make Hotbox sorry again. Okay, so tune in next week when voting will be live and candidates share their election promises, which we expect will last about as long as a Scottish summer. Until then, happy Bat Appreciation Day and Batman Day. Remember, your vote counts. It counts as one vote.
And now it's over to our outside broadcast unit, where our roving reporter's Hollow Me has just arrived.
The Hollow Me is currently downloading.
Have we had to reboot him again?
This is seamless tonight.
Yeah, I think. Oh, it's here. Hang on, let me smack it, see if it works. Quick, isn't it good that we've got the apology officer handy?
Turn that blue bit. What's that blue bit? Turn that. If it comes off, obviously you weren't meant to turn it, but turn that.
Hello, this is Harry Balzac, and this live report is coming to you from just outside the airlock of the famous Gnosis megaship, where a group of tourists are watching a man in a threadbare white coat, juggling buckyballs and making models of animals from small pieces of aluminium that he's tearing from his hat as I enter this iconic structure. The Cannon research ship, no longer cutting-edge technology thanks to the event of fleet carriers, has had a refit and is setting off on voyages around the bubble as a combined tour bus and floating museum, where the antimatter magnetic containment fields once held firm against the raging forces of nature. A souvenir shop sells Thargoid keychains and books such as My First Xenomorph. Freezers that once held the samples of deadly toxins gathered from around the galaxy have been reused as tables by simply throwing a tablecloth across them. And the huge vats of bubbling, noxious liquids have been replaced with a Lucky Dip water ride, where a small fee gives you access to 15 minutes of being sprayed at odd intervals, buckets of brightly coloured solution being thrown over you, and lasers ensuring that you keep your arms inside the car at all times. As a nice touch, at the end, you can optionally pay for a photograph of whatever mutation you've acquired during the ride, which can also be used by your relatives to display at your funeral. It's not just about having fun on the new Gnosis. There are still echoes of the serious studies that Cannon used to conduct, in the form of various posters on the walls with arcane diagrams, which have all been defaced with moustaches, male genitals, or even male genitals with moustaches in some likely exhibits. Unemployed scientists lurk in dark places. The only sign that they're there is the slight slap of their sandals as they shuffle about, the vague smell of leather from their elbow patches, and the whispers of, "Wanna buy a signed copy of the Codex?" Fake smiles are plastered on all the staff, and we know that what they're really waiting for is a call that says, "Attention all scientists, Thargoid attack underway, this is no drill," and for them to reply, "So say we all," as the drums reach fever pitch. All we know is that we're glad the change of role wasn't because of the biscuits.
Aisling Duval's dear dad has been done in. Yes, he's been sent to meet his maker. He's taken a beam laser to the unmentionables. If he wasn't immortalised in statue form in his hometown... Hello. Alright. Bomb me in. If the combination of salty pirates, blockades of popular systems in open by dastardly do-wrongs, and Tharg the Mighty lurking on the fringes of human civilization weren't enough to make everyone sleep with the light on, it's all going a bit pear-shaped in galactic politics. Not content with making Hutton truck a truckload of people out of 4 stations in the bubble by setting fire to them, evil terror types have now struck out at one of the Empire's most famous families. Harold Duval, Pretty People's Princess Aisling Duval's dear dad, has been done in. Yes, he's been sent to meet his maker. He's taken a beam laser to the unmentionables. If he wasn't immortalised in statue form in his hometown, he'd be pushing up the daisies. He has ceased to be. He's drawn his last breath, and what's more, he didn't have enough for the rebuy. More from Commander Wotherspoon later, but between that and someone finally working out the NSS, yes, that's the no shiz silly, news that Starship 1 was sabotage, hands up anyone who hadn't worked out that particular nugget yet, the advice from Hutton Orbital is that everyone should just do a whole lot better to get along. Like a famous man once said, be excellent to each other and party on.
Following on from the last news article, and of course Flossy's excellent and rather excited return to form last week, Hutton have done what they do best and thrown themselves into the fiery fray with wild abandon. Yes, with 4 stations on fire and fire control crews unable to bring the Thargoid tech-induced inferno under control, scores of truckers have been loading passengers onto any vessel they can get their hands on and hauling them to waiting rescue megaships. Entarius Fusion, Meister of the Hutton Helper and Event Data Supremo, was quick on the draw and brought tracking systems online in double quick time, giving truckers a way with which to watch the ongoing rescue efforts. The numbers have been absolutely staggering. By the time of this broadcast, we're expecting 540,000 people to have been safely removed from the stations. No fewer than 15 commanders are now clocking over the 10,000 mark on people rescued. Their truck advisor ratings are staying high, with only a small number of particularly demanding passengers insisting that Tiddles the cat should come too, or I need 15 tons of battle weapons being a reasonable request in response to the instruction, take only the essentials. And there are reports that these requests have been summarily ignored. Topping the tables with over 40,000 tons are Hutton regulars Texas Stew and Funky Abigail, with notable names including the Major General, who cut short his trip to Colonia, Suevus, and a hanky clone hot on their heels. What is also encouraging is that there are a large number of pilots new to Hutton who have made their mark on this effort. Entarius is reporting that sign-ups for the Hutton Helper are higher than they've been in many a month. There has, of course, been a casualty. Our very own Commander Flossy, Queen of the community-created community goal and reporter extraordinaire, had to be rescued from inside a burning station. Not once, but twice. All in the line of duty, of course, as she was cataloguing the rescue efforts with her Galtax 3000 digital camera. This modern camera drone uses virtual reality control, but unfortunately the subject material was so absorbing that she didn't notice A, how long she'd been taking snaps for, and B, whether the ship had drifted over a pad, activating any station auto-defence systems. We're happy to report that passing Hutton truckers scooped up an escape pod, and due to her ongoing title of the Pilots Federation's favourite, didn't have too large a rebuy cost. With new community goals having launched today, as well as forthcoming exciting news from the Hot Pit team about Alvin's ongoing expansion plans, truckers will be spread thin. But we know we're up to the task. If you've not yet signed up to the Hutton Helper, you can visit hot.forthemug.com, and we're reliably informed that everything you need to know is hidden there somewhere.
We have a mostly steady bubble this week. There are still too many, about a third, of our systems with excessive influence, but only Avic is too low. We should work for everyone except Sirius Corp and EDF in Avik to stop the permit hunting Sirius supporters from stealing our influence, whilst also avoiding any PvP war scenarios. In the systems that are too high, we need to keep an eye on WISE 08550714, LP245-10, Wolf 124, LP 525-39, PSPF-LF2, said it right, Rubensind, Wolf 1481 and Luton 145-141. Treppin needs particular attention, as not only is it too high in influence, yesterday it was the highest of all our systems before it took a much needed drop overnight, but we also need to support Treppin Energy in their war to keep a buffer between the CIA player faction and ourselves. While this has been going on, Treppin Values Party have used the war to make large gains and leapfrog the CIA and Treppin Energy, so we need to make sure that external forces are not exploiting Treppin Values Party for their ends. I appreciate the excitement of the rescue missions and the new CGs, which Flossy will tell you about later. Let that create a situation in our own systems. I appreciate the excitement with the recognition of new CGs, which Flossy will do. Oh, damn it. So, grab it for me?
I'll do it for you.
We seem to have lost him there. Apologies again.
No.
Should we take over?
I'll take over. Oh, you're going to say the line? I'll take over. I'll do the line then. I appreciate the excitement with the rescue missions and the new CGs, which Flossy will tell you about later, but we mustn't let that create a situation in our own systems. Over in Colonia,
We've got an election in here!
That's right. However did you guess? I think we want to win that, but it doesn't really matter as we'll do it again in a week or so. Everything else over there is fine, and I hope they've got the kettle on. I just set off on a Bicky Ball run. I know the BGS have been a bit quiet and dare I say it, dull recently, but watch this space. Alvin has spotted something shiny and he's looking to bring some excitement to the galaxy. Over to Norma.
Here is this week's update on community organised events. We have the final results of the Exigeous and Buckyballers Colonia speedrun. The idea was to get from Buckyball's home station of Rebuy Prospect to Jack Station in Colonia as quickly as possible, with prizes of Steam gift cards and ship paint jobs up for grabs. And our short link is bit.ly/Colonia speedrun. The results do show how much engineering can help when tuning your ship for specific purposes, as the winner in the engineered non-hotbox class was Commander Ravenov, in a time of 1 hour 14 minutes 44 seconds, whilst the winner of the unengineered non-hotbox class was Bob Dubrovnik, and his time was 3 hours 41 minutes 38 seconds, nearly 3 times as slow. For the hotboxers, Marky P4334 came top in the engineered class with 1 hour 57 minutes 46 seconds, which beat the time from the sole competitor in the unengineered class, Cliff McLean, with an astonishing 6 hours 9 minutes 38 seconds, which we assume must have included a vacation on a planet that he encountered en route. The Dark Wheel continue their efforts to find Draxler. They swept both wars 4-0 as predicted and are now number 1 in system LTT 5455. They are looking to go pending expansion from there by Monday to Tuesday, and that jump will take them to the test site for phase 1. So, they are also continuing to climb in HR 4979. Everything is progressing exactly as predicted last week. Rumours that members of the Pilots Federation on Sol have been avoiding black cats, responding promptly to chain letters and making sure that their horseshoes are the right way up have not been confirmed. Worried, us, said one representative. Why, we aren't giving it another thought. Pass that salt cellar, will you? Malice XR3 is looking for commanders to sign up for tomorrow's, that's Friday the 18th of September, if you're listening to the recording, regular mug meet at Hutton Orbital. Organised by Malice XR3 from 21 BST, the commander writes, "It's a new month, so with that comes another mug meet, though this one is slightly different to the usual. Yumi, the illustrious and occasionally short-tempered flight control officer of the FTM's Alvin's Paw, has decreed that we need to have a clear out of the Paw's inventory. So this means a couple of things. Firstly, the 1-to-1 scale tower defence games in the storage bays will cease. Secondly, I might get my quarters back. A mattress made of cargo crates isn't the most comfortable. But most importantly, gives a window for both some profit and to introduce those imperial types to the benefits of mug ownership and Alvin's fluffy leadership. To that end, we'll be heading to the Imperial-owned system of Pandemonium, apt name especially where Helpbox is concerned, to empty the Paw, spread the Hutton word and make a few credits into the mix. Hope to see you there and for the mug." Those SRV Slaughterbowl crazies have announced the third and final episode to be run on Sunday, September the 27th. And they've called it Cell Block Riot. Details are in their Discord channel, and you can get an invite by going to bit.ly/Slaughterbowl. And that's all the news we have from the community organised events this week. But Flossy will be along later to tell us all about our honorary CC-CG and the 2 new non-CC-CGs.
And that was the news. We're terribly sorry about some of the technical problems there. It looks like the apology officer may have spilt a drink on something, maybe, or possibly it was me, or maybe it was Flossy.
It wasn't me this time.
I never spilled a drink on you.
Anyway, goodness knows what's been going on there, but I think we've hammered it back into shape now. Welcome to the rest of the show. It's Thursday. Again, it's us again, and this time we have a different mix of crew in the studio. We've got a few missing and a few familiar faces. Faces, you can't see them. Voices even. And well, anyway, let's go through the list. Aemilia, are you there?
Hello.
Are you seamless this evening?
I am so seamless.
Have you got your teeth in, ready for your bit?
Yes.
I won't promise we haven't written any tongue twisters for you when you're reviewing the vacuum krill later.
As long as I don't get reverb, I'm okay.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. And then we have Dead Meat GF, who may or may not have recovered from a bad case of the stutters, technical stutters, not personal ones. Are you there, Dead Meat GF?
I have no idea. Am I there?
You're a bit garbly, but you're vaguely here.
That's very strange.
Well, that's
it is very strange.
unusual.
And we've got Commander Flossy, who's still all excited about the CGs, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I am, yes.
And we're going to have a sing-along with you later, around the campfire.
Oh, yeah, look forward to that.
And we have the Commander Palantir.
Good evening.
I was about to say, who's sounding smooth as usual, but you spoilt that. I had that line all lined up, and then you squeaked at me.
Well, it's just the way I am.
Yes, and, of course, the Apology Officer.
Hello.
Stunt Glaswegian and stand-in hot pit bit.
Did you just call me a stunted Glaswegian?
No. There was no Y in anything I said there at all.
You're from Glasgow, you stunt.
Yeah, stunted Glaswegian.
So that's the crew, and obviously we have Commander Ventura rapidly running around with a fire extinguisher trying to put out fires on the decks this evening. Good evening, Commander Ventura.
Hello.
Yes, I don't think anything's caught fire in such a way it's not recoverable at the moment, but we shall carry on. It's
hopefully not.
This is what happens. Anyway, I think first thing we need to say is happy birthday to Mr. Benedetti, who's having had the week off last week. taken some more time off to go and
Happy
celebrate.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Stephen. Yes. Mr. Benedetti has joined us on the live show a number of times, been part of all sorts of bits and bobs, and a hard-working member of the community management team over at the Pilots Federation. And yes, I imagine he's enjoying a glass of something tasty for his birthday. Is it today or is it tomorrow? I think it's actually today, isn't it? I'm sure Commander Wotherspoon will pop up and tell us in a second. But happy birthday, Stephen.
Yeah, Will tweeted him this morning, said happy birthday, and asked him at 10 a.m. whether he'd opened a bottle yet. So yes, I imagine he's fine. Gives you an idea of the pressure at Frontier Towers.
Yes, made in Scotland from girdlers. Anyway, it's been a really busy couple of weeks. I mean, obviously we were all dead excited last week about Galnet coming back, and we've got more from Galnet this week. I know Commander Wotherspoon's been working overtime trying to keep up with it, so rather than doing his sort of Tuesday for Live Radio and Thursday for us, it's, oh my giddy Alvin, there's another Galnet news article coming out. And then rapidly trying to summarise it, do the research and get a video out there. But we do have a piece from Commander Wotherspoon later. But my word, we put out the appeal last week during the show for people to go and do the rescue missions. And then it all went a bit mad. Obviously, Interius Fusion's fired up the Hutton Helper special page, the event page on hot.forthemug.com. You click on current events and you'll see it on there. In fact, shortly to be joined by a second one, I understand, for the CGs, once Flossy's told everybody about them. But the numbers are outrageous. I mean, I think Nocta Vegas took an early lead, but then had to go back to work or something, or go back to Colonia. But does anybody have a couple of the stats handy?
Yeah.
So, topping the table at the moment, Flossy, as you were taking photographs, you were taking notes at the same time while blowing up, which was dedicated of you. So, who's running in top place on the passenger rescue totals at the moment?
Texas Stew.
With what? Yeah, a couple of hundred?
Hang on, let me just refresh the page.
It's going up by the second. That's not going to help. It'll go up again.
54,398.
And we'll see if we can get somebody in the background to do a quick calculator about how many Type 9s full that is. But yeah, 54,000. Now, Funky Abigail, I think, is sort of racing to catch up. Obviously, they're on different time zones, so Texas Stew accelerates and then Funky Abigail catches up, and yeah, they've been chopping and changing a bit. On 44,000 for Funky Abigail. Well done, Abigail.
Yeah.
But in fact, we've got the top 16 people are now over the 10,000 mark, which is...
that's right, yeah.
Total matters. A lot of regular names in there. The Montgomery Python, we've got Infinite Dreamer, Commander Aiden's just snuck into the top 16 there as well. There's a few names I don't recognise. Syriac Ulrich. And Palantir might know, has Syriac earned a Hutton decal yet for trucking services?
I think that name rings a bell, but I'm just going to...
It's only a recent one, if so. It's not a trucker of long standing here.
I can do this while we...
But yeah, there's definitely a few names up there. You know, Darkness CS 101
Syriac
and 18.
does not have one, no.
No, well, Syriac is, I think, well on the way to earning a trucking decal there, and it's one of our newer commanders. That's a astonishing total. Darkness CS 101 is also another new commander. Seapot, obviously, Hojo the Fool is an old hand now, having been named a number of times in the last few weeks. But we've got Aldous, Kierkegaard, and I mean, loads of new names we've never seen before on the tops of the list as well. So we found some lurking truckers that didn't know they were good enough to be Hutton truckers, but they are. Super Bob 702.
Number 21, there's this Flossy. Is that how
Flossy?
you spell Flossy? Flossy. That's how it's pronounced.
Renamed to Smashy and Crashy. No, Flossy.
Floozy.
Floozy.
Next time,
Floozy, that's what you usually get.
don't worry. Next time, put the handbrake on, Flossy, when you leave your ship. You'll be all right.
But no,
don't forget me. I'm in 38th position.
You're in 38th position. Let's have a look. Yeah,
I'm in 38th position.
Yeah.
I just read that as JCB Digger, but you're not a JCB Digger. No,
I'm not a JCB Digger. No. Marco 2612.
And I mean, there's loads of names. Chak Siralis, there's Tucker Clellan. I mean, loads of people we've never heard of before and not really sort of reached the sort of the heights on trucker stuff. So it's great to have loads of new commanders come and join us in this mission. But we have not one, but 2 missions now, maybe even 3, Flossie? Which you're going to talk about later?
2 new CGs.
2 CGs. Oh
Yeah.
dear! And some. We were hoping that the evacuation we'd managed to get it over and done with by this this Thursday, and get everybody out of there. I managed to get back to sort of sticking it up with sticky plasters and gaffer tape and cable ties. But it's not to be. 500,000 by Hutton is not enough to get everybody off these things.
God, what is left in those stations that's still got to burn?
Well, exactly. It's been on fire. I mean, anything
they've
that's been on
burnt
fire
everything.
for that long, yeah. I think somebody must be shipping in flammable stuff.
Yeah.
There must be some
Cecil
secret
bringing in
ships.
gin.
Or they're using hollow flames.
Oh, if we find that hollow projector. And of course, there is a strong suspicion that Captain Beard, Arthur told me himself, is leaning on the clonomat device, pumping clones out as fast as we can rescue them as well. So we are going to start doing DNA testing on everybody leaving just to check they're not identical to the last one that left.
I thought it was just because all those people were from Mackenzie Relay, but they've all got the same nose.
Now, what kind of tartan are they wearing?
Oh, I don't know. McRescue. McRescue tartan.
Yes, the one with the brown streak down the back. Anyway, oh dear, that's gone downhill very quickly, hasn't it? Right. Well, so yeah, there's lots of new stuff, and there were things in the news which Commander Wotherspoon's going to be talking about. I mean, there are stories that we hadn't forgotten about, but we were a bit sad because they'd never ended. Things that started. This Starship One, and Wotherspoon's going to go through the recap on that one. But as we said during the news, is anyone actually surprised that it has turned out to be sabotage? Really? Really? No. It was obvious.
Not really, no.
No. But go on then, who are we going to stick the blame on for this one? Who had the most to gain by getting rid of a presidential candidate? Or was it Halsey? Was he president or presidential candidate at the time?
Jasmina Halsey was president at the time.
Oh, she was Jasmina Halsey, yes. So she was president at the time. Who had the most to gain by getting rid of the current president?
Zachary Hudson might know.
Yeah, we'd have to ask.
Yeah.
We're keeping our beady eye on that character. We're not big fans of Hudson. Obviously, he's got some unsavoury tastes, and including trying to expand into Hutton space regularly and prevent us doing what we love. So, boo Hudson.
Boo, and a big orange face.
Yep, and his silly hair.
Silly hair.
Yeah, and his hatred of things like facts, which he refers to as fake news.
Yep. And his irrational fear of escalators.
Oh, yes. Or walking down steps.
Or
Anyway,
walking up steps.
Or walking up steps, or walking anywhere. But so yes, there's that whole story going on there. And in fact, the Pilots Federation were online earlier this evening. In fact, they overran this evening. They decided to get in their SRVs and start hooning around, so we couldn't start our show. I've lost the train of thought on that one because something just popped up in front of me.
I think what happened was that Arthur caught a sight of himself on one of the monitors and he became transfixed.
Oh, probably. But they were talking about earlier about the fact that there are lots of little stories, and they're trying to encourage the Galnet news reporters to go and tie up and investigate some of these long-standing stories. So there is bound to be more to come. So we're sort of trawling through the archives with Commander Wotherspoon, trying to find all those things that we wish we knew more about and had finished properly.
You mean like wearable computers, that kind of thing?
Or the Talk, wasn't it the Talk one? That one, or was it the and the Data Slate ones? And, yeah. Anyway, so we've got those. We've got the CGs. There's been lots going on in the community as well. Obviously, we've got the Hotbox Hot Boss.
Yep.
Stuff coming up, which there was somebody who was very confused. What Hutton changes leader regularly? No, Hutton has a leader. Hutton's leader is Alvin, and Alvin does not change. Hotbox is the O'Connor-based subdivision of Hutton who fly with their thumbs instead of their hands.
Yeah, think of us as a remedial learning class. You won't go far wrong.
Anyway, and there's a rotation there for the leadership of that. So this year has been Corey.
Yes, Corey, Mr. Venezia.
Mr. Venezia,
so it's been
yes.
Corey James Venezia. And
last year was the Rampage.
Last year was the Rampage. Before that was the Girdler.
God, I've forgotten about the Griddler.
Yeah, that was Andy Griddler.
Yes.
And before him, it was Andy Tuffrey.
Yeah, Squibbo.
Squibble.
Immortalised in the song.
Immortalised in the song, yes. Infamously immortalised in the song.
So obviously there have been 4 or 5 that they don't throw their own hat into the ring. Somebody else throws their hat into the ring for them and goes, "It's him or her, it's them."
Yeah,
Give them the-
you can throw your hat into the ring, but nobody's generally that much of a masochist, so you generally get nominated, if you know what I mean.
I have noticed that you've managed to all nominate each other at the moment.
Yeah.
So everybody in Hotbox is fair game.
Yeah. There follows an elaborate game of musical chairs, and whoever loses becomes Hotbox leader.
Yeah, so who's going around nicking the chairs so that somebody falls over hilariously and ends up with the job?
That'll be Rampage, because that'll be Corey, because he's not allowed to stand again this year.
Oh, so he gets to sit while everybody else runs around him in a circle.
Yeah.
All right.
It's difficult to do with a straitjacket on, but he'll manage.
Yeah. You stick a leg out, somebody trips up. It's them. Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, if you are a pilot on Team Hotbox and you think you've got what it takes to be the hot boss for the next 12 months, then do get somebody to nominate you, or point and laugh, whichever.
Yeah, exactly.
The tasks generally involve keeping an eye on the rest of them and stopping them doing naughty things, and helping organise. Well, it's not just Hotbox specific events, but Hotbox run events that everybody joins in with. But we
generally have events people who'll do that. So Andrew is the guy he's taken up the mantle of the regular mug mates. So he arranges them for Hotbox, and PC people can arrange that for themselves if they want to join in as well.
Or we join in, because obviously with the fleet carriers, you send Alvin's paw somewhere, we can all get on it. It doesn't matter whether you fly with your thumbs or your feet or your ears or
Yeah, but in terms of Mugmeat, we generally do that at Hutton, but we're not doing that at Hutton tomorrow. So it's going to be out in Pandemonium tomorrow, and we're going to offload everything that we've onloaded to Alvin's paw and flog it all. We understand there's a big car boot sale going on there, so we're going to go and sell off all the stuff that's in the hold.
Okay. Well, anyway, so if you're a glutton for punishment, and obviously it does mean you would get dragged onto this show, probably at least once, maybe once, to introduce yourself to everybody and lay down your manifesto after you've been elected. So these are the things I promised to do that I will do my best not to. Dodge.
Pretty much. Yeah. Free biscuits, things like that. Chocolate biscuits in the Hotbox office, that kind of thing. It gets lonely down in the lower rotunda. We get lonely down there, so the biscuits help.
Yes, they do. Oh, now and Elsie, full like one, I think seems to be fairly glad that the biscuits aren't to blame for the explosions. Palantir, I mean, you were talking to LCU, and there was a strong suspicion that the Thargoid biscuits might have been the guilty party in the goo that was all over the station.
Well, I mean, it's the right colour, it's the right substance, and those biscuits are notoriously unstable.
Yes.
Dip them in the wrong temperature tea, and everywhere, just go everywhere.
Yeah, you detonated. Yes, these biscuits are.
And that's why they're called dodgy jammers,
Dodgy jammers, yeah.
If you've ever been to the place in the parade that does pie and a pint for 1 credit, you know that Thargoid biscuits aren't the worst thing you've ever eaten.
Oh no, definitely not. The late night kebabs on the way back from the studio after we finish this broadcast are potent as well.
It's next to the clone shop, put it that way.
Yes. Oh, the mind boggles. Right. So, does anybody, before we finish up there? Well, let's just test. So, somebody turn the dial back up on the dead meat and see whether we fixed the dead meat yet. Dead meat, are you fixed yet?
I don't know. I can hear myself perfectly.
Well, we'll give it a go, because obviously we talked briefly in the hot pit bit about a potential expansion.
We did, yes. Alvin's spotted something shiny.
And is wagging excitedly in that direction.
Yes, and his tail as well.
Well, yes, and it's there's a wolf system that doesn't appear to have anybody else in it as well.
Yes,
is it the Wolf 520? No, what is it?
562.
Wolf 562. What do we know about Wolf 562? Do we know anything about it?
We know it's shiny, which in Alvin's terms means it's a fairly high-tech system.
It is a high-tech system, a population of 60 million people. It doesn't appear to have anybody else in there that's going to get upset if we go. And it is the site of Berners-Lee Terminal.
Yes, a famous chap.
We could try and take over the airways by taking over the worldwide wobble. One station at a time.
We might be able to get him to fix my internet issues from tonight.
Oh, possibly. Well, see, this may be what we need. We need to go there and just find, Berners-Lee's head in a jar on a rack somewhere and say, just come and help us fix this as well. But also, there's an interesting place on the planet called King's Inheritance, and we're wondering whether some mad uncle of the hanky has left him something over in Wolf 562. Undoubtedly. Anyway, so we'll be looking at that. It doesn't mean we just go mad and expand and randomly land there. We've got a bit of work to do beforehand. So I think we're going to be keeping an eye out in the next couple of weeks for messages from Snuggles McKeague.
Indeed, there are plenty of machinations to go through to prepare it. Then there are plenty more machinations to go through to prepare us. Then we guide ourselves gradually over towards it, and then we tell them how wonderful Elven is.
Well, I think it is the next system over, actually. From where we are, is 4.62 light years away from one of our existing systems, and
so obviously we'll be super cruising there.
Yeah. And we're just having a look at the minor factions that are in this system as well. It's the Wolf 562 Major Inc. are in charge, followed by the Wolf 562 PLC and the Values Party, and they're first, and then the Justice Party, or a bunch of splitters as we know them.
Yes, well, I mean, the ruling faction being the major party, we outrank him with the Major General.
Who is the very model of a modern Major General.
Indeed. So once we're there, controlling the system should be fairly easy because we just outrank them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we're going to keep an eye on that one. We'll have a look at it. We've noticed the Black Alliance Industries are there. We don't know much about them, but they don't own anything. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But there'll be more news coming.
Yeah, so I mean, they're sitting quietly at less than 5%. They have no assets in the system. And if we do land there, we'll be significantly above them anyway. But obviously, if they're available, we'll get in touch with them and discuss this first.
I think we had a post today from the Black Alliance Industries guy, commander, whoever, on the Hutton Facebook page, asking us to help him out with some expansion-y stuff, and he would be happy to let us be in control of the system.
Point Snuggles at it. And
I will point. There. Yes, I will.
Yep, and obviously over in Colonia, we have had a couple of commanders, BAM and one or two others, and our friends over from EDS 38 over at WNL, lending a reciprocal helping hand, which sounds a bit dodgy, but it isn't, to our friends at the Paladin Consortium, who had their home system taken off them over in Colonia. So congratulations to BAM and the team there. They've turned a 3-0 loss into a 3-2, soon to be draw 3-3 tomorrow. With a bit of effort. So they're doing great guns. It's quite nice to sort of train them all up and show them how it all works, and so they can take their own system back. And now they are the go-to people in Colonia.
That's marvellous.
Which is, it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. Like getting a little chick and throwing it out the tree and saying, "Fly, you bastard."
Indeed, yes.
Well, don't do that with a cat. Yeah, don't do that with a cat.
No.
I think Commander Kinrain is upset. Oh.
So, because we mentioned Colonia, because I saw some excitement in the chat earlier, Lou Snockers is on his way to Colonia doing a Bicky Ball run. He did manage to overheat his Anaconda and lose a couple of tons of of tea, but apart from that, he's doing very well.
Well, that sounds
flying
good.
over there.
We had a message from retired Navy IT1. Nice to have you back, retired Navy IT1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we just expand in the last couple of months? I think that's just lockdown on my waistline, to be fair. Anyway, right. Well, we ought to move on now. Oh my goodness gracious me! What have we? I'm not sure if we're ready for this. You know, are you really ready for this? Have you seen what's coming up next?
What's coming up next?
Well, LCU, I think, has been at the Thargoid biscuits.
Oh, God.
Because LCU has decided that he's this season's latest recording artist. And judging by what's normally put out on the charts, this is sure to go straight to number one. But we're going to go to the song in a second, and then of course over to Commander Wotherspoon, who must be in danger of getting RSI from all the times he's had to click the upload button for Galnet news articles this week. But this is LCU No Fool Like One with his latest single, and followed by Galnet News Digest. Please take it away, Commander Ventura.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Warning, hyperspace control unstable. Unclick system malfunction.
My megaship brings Thargoid to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. The Gnosis bring the Goid to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. I know you want it. The thing that makes me what Thargoids go crazy for. They lose their minds, the way I wind. I think it's time, la 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 la. Warm it up, la 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 la. Thargoids are waiting, la 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 la. Warm it up, la 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 la. The Goids are waiting. My megaship brings the Goids to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. The Gnosis brings the Goids to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. I see you're on it. You want me to teach thee techniques that breed Thargoids. It can't be bought. Just know, please get caught. Watch if you're smart. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guys are waiting. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. Thargoids are waiting. My megaship brings Thargoids to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. The Gnosis brings the Goids to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. Oh, once you get involved, everyone will look this way, so you must maintain your charm. Same time, maintain your halo. Just get the perfect blend. That's what you have within. Then his eye will squint, and he's picked up your scent. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The Goids are waiting. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The Goids are waiting. My megaship brings Thargoids to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. My megaship brings Thargoids to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge.
Galnet News Digest, 17th of September 3306. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's roundup, state funeral for Prince Harold.
No one arrested for Starship One sabotage.
Brewing up some starports.
Bowling through a blue sky.
State funeral for Prince Harold. In a terse statement, the Emperor has confirmed that Prince Harold is dead.
It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our beloved Prince Harold. A state funeral at the Hall of Martyrs is being arranged and there will be a period of mourning. As is customary for esteemed members of the imperial family, there will be opportunities for all citizens to honour Harold's memory in an appropriate manner.
Princess Aisling also made a brief statement.
Yes, it's a huge loss to us all. I'm sorry. I can't believe this has happened. He can't be gone. I used to have some sympathy for the Marlinists, but now they took him from us. They took my daddy.
No one arrested for Starship One's sabotage. The Federal Intelligence Agency still hasn't arrested anyone for the attempted murder of Jasmina Halsey, and the press are getting restless.
They said on Saturday they were about to arrest someone.
Said a disgruntled hack from the Federal Times.
Now it's Thursday and there's not a whiff of anything happening.
The FIA is believed to be continuing to work on the investigation behind the scenes.
Brewing up some starports. Brewer Corporation thinks we need some more starports and has rustled up a list of 10 likely refinery outposts to receive a big-time makeover. Up to 5 outposts will be upgraded to Orbis starports, and up to 5 will be upgraded to Coriolis. Sadly, Hutton Orbital doesn't seem to be on the list.
Bowling through a blue sky. The organisers of the annual Speed Bowl event have announced the venue for this year's event. In a humorous nod to the dozens of Distant World 2 explorers who found their dreams and spaceship dashed up on the hard rocky surface of the planet known as The View in HR 6164, a planet of modest gravity of 3.3 Gs, that very planet has been selected as the location for the racing event, which will be held on the 21st and 22nd of November. In preparation for the event, organiser, Commander Primetime Casual, has prepared an adjusted list, the Grand Unified Speedball Leaderboard, or GUZL, showing the fastest speedballers ever. Topped by Phebia, who achieved an adjusted 6,280 metres per second. That's a bit faster than 14,000 miles per hour. All the other top spots are held by Verminus, Jur UA, and Aiken B. All of the best scores were achieved during Speedball 3 last year, and with improving techniques it's highly likely that all the records will be smashed again this year. In related news, ace speedballer Commander Sanderling has withdrawn his threat to give up flying after being assured that commanders in vehicles will be permitted to see in 3D, so he will after all be able to plummet through blue skies and explode picturesquely within tenuous atmospheres. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commander Wotherspoon. And was that Beetlejude? I can't blame him for taking on an apprentice, not with the amount of work we have at the moment. With the way he's managed to take all of that news and digest it, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to his new series, Man vs. News. Now, before Flossy gives us all of the information we didn't know we needed to know about the CGs, we've got another short potted biography of one of our crew.
And now, it's time for a quick peek behind the curtain. A series showing the lives of our radio crew when they're away from Studio 5. This time it's Mia Harkness.
Ms. Harkness is Hutton Orbital Radio's apology officer, forced to apologise for each and every mistake made in the name of Hutton, so you'll understand she really doesn't get much time off to be herself. Most listeners aren't aware, but Mia is actually 2.5 metres tall, which makes moving around indoors very difficult. Couple that with a really strong built-in clumsiness, and it's easy to see why she grew up learning to apologise for everything. This did make her a natural for the job of apology officer, though Hutton has occasionally been accused of taking advantage of her nature by teaching her to apologise for other people as well. Mia is usually encouraged to broadcast remotely, as Studio 5 really is quite small, so Mia sends in her reports from the frozen, windowless garret, which is off, as there is nothing valuable to break in those latitudes.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, it's Flossy here with this week's CG News. And it feels so good to be saying that again. Last week's CCCG rescuing passengers from burning stations. This event has gone really well and is still ongoing, currently with 117 truckers taking part and 538,625 passengers rescued between all 4 stations. Very well done to all participants. Now for this week's new CGs. Following the recent announcement that some refinery outports will be converted to starports to aid fleet carrier owners in refuelling their tritium, there are 2 companies who will be responsible for these conversions. Both companies have requested commodities to be delivered to facilitate the conversions. Kavanagh Space Frames Starport Initiative. Susanna Haynes, CEO of Kavanagh Space Frames Limited, stated, "With the galactic community's help, we can upgrade a maximum of 5 outposts into orbit starports. Our intermediaries, Tench Universal Holdings, will accept deliveries of building fabricators, power generators and thermal cooling units at Blower Hub in the Tench system." Steel Castle Starport Initiative. Dean Bradigan, Director of Steel Castle Incorporated, said, "For travellers who find the familiar sight of Coriolis stations welcoming, here's a chance to build up to 5 more. We ask for shipments of bauxite, gallite and rutile to be delivered to CQC Holdings at Tenghui Station in the Naga Seru system. The number of starports will depend on the amount of materials delivered. The target systems in order of priority are Fiorgin HR4979, Wolf 294, Lambda 2 Tucani, Portuiti, LHS 4058, Chakpa, Galibis, Asa Kefi and Nina Bin. If successful, upgrading will be done for the start of October. Both initiatives start today, 17th of September, and will run for 1 week. If the final targets for a campaign are met earlier than planned, it will end immediately. And that's this week's CG News.
When the Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossie. Why can't Norma sound like that? Anyway, it's time for this week's sports results, read this week by the Apology Officer.
Good evening. Welcome to the Sports Roundup, sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the helper that gets you going and then tells you just how far you've come. There has naturally been some disruption to the normal programme of unlikely sports matches this week due to the unexpected boom boom, help help, hot hot, ow ow, go go, phew phew, again of the rescues that started last Thursday and necessitated the absence of most of our volunteer firemen, plus those looking to top up their tan in a hurry. Nevertheless, we've still managed to have a credible field of entrants, and we're pleased to announce the results of the following galactic competition. Eyes down, check your coupons for the following. The Loneliness of the Long Distance Flyer Long Jump Trophy. The I Don't Give a Flying Truck Weightlifting. The Mission District Vocational Training Medal. The Plenty of Bounties Challenge, sponsored by Desperate Dan is Innocent Campaign. The Learning to Fight Outside the Box Cup. And finally, the If You Can't Stand the Heat, Call for a Taxi Relocation Relay. In the Loneliness of the Long Distance Flyer Long Jump Trophy, confident Shatter Mage showed early form, moving steadily away from the rest of the field, even pausing to stop and admire the view in his rear view mirror, but still bouncing Hojo the Fool and Bowl Off Petunas into a distant joint second. In the I Don't Give a Flying Truck weightlifting competition, no one managed to work out how to actually get out of their dressing room, so there are no prizes, but we're mentioning Eros Madinlung. I'll start that again. Eros Madinlung, because it'll save us having to send a Christmas card. Hi Eros. The Mission District Vocational Training Medal was rained off due to, well, rain. The Plenty of Bounties Challenge was dominated by Alex Zuno. The competition's retired tart. Oh, help you I will. Fighting for the honour of Alvin in the Learning to Fight Outside the Box Cup was Legion _R917, who made Attic 2, usually a strong contender, look like he was fighting with one hand tied behind his back and narrowly missed giving Attic 2 a bloody nose. The Pick People Up and Drop Them Challenge Cup was fiercely fought, and the next heat is ongoing as we speak. The first round went to Texas Stew, narrowly beating Noctivagus on points, but we expect this to be a closely fought contest, and the Hutton Helper is there to report every step of the way. And here are the classified results. Shatter Mage, 138 million. Rest of the field, who cares? Alex Zuno, over 252 million. Bandages and a trip to the first aid tent, everyone else. Legion R917, 36.5 million. Attic 2, 25 million. Texas Stew, 25,000. Noctivagus, 21,000. Queen of the South, nil. Stenhouse Muir, nil. 4 for 4, East 5-5. You have one no-score draw on your coupon. Could the winners who have not previously obtained the Hutton decal, that's Shatter Mage and Legion R917, please contact the race organisers to collect their Hutton decal for their ships and SRVs, and we can also arrange for the loan of an iron to press it on. And finally, the Hutton Long Distance Challenge has had some gallant attempts this week, with Chundaman making the trek in 1 hour 23 minutes 46 seconds, coincidentally beating Sticky Winnets by the narrow margin of just 7 seconds. Of course, these times, though splendid, do not earn them a place of honour in the Hall of Fame, as that's been held for the last 8 solid months by Brett Riverboat at 1 hour 22 minutes and 31 seconds, which is 73 seconds faster than the nearest player this week. With the galaxy's oddest sports being reported each week, why not see if you can get your name up in lights? All you need to do is go to hot.forthemug.com and download or register for the Hutton Helper, then truck like a trucking trucker should.
Always nice to see our galactic athletes flex their muscles. We've got another advert from the bottom of our bag of tricks. Then it's Aemilia with the Galnet Food Digest.
Hello, this is Snozwell. Here at CompareTheCommodityMarket.gal we have been compiling statisticals for weeks. Alvin has been working like dog, locked in station warehouse. If you want extra 2 credit for every ton of scrapping for Hutton, if you need to find somewhere to sell Centauri Mega Gin, sign up now for a complicated website and receive free mongoose toy. Me and my mate Winard have been using it for days and made an extra 200 credits. Join up now. Complex.
Good evening. This is Aemilia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Food Digest. I try the galaxy's most rare and dangerous foods, so you don't have to. This week, we're venturing away from the planet-side locations of previous tasting sessions and out into deep space to try something a little bit different. In deep space, humanity has discovered life forms of strange and mysterious shapes and sizes, from stolon pods to life forms in various shapes categorized as mollusks. Whilst not uncommon, all of these can be found throughout the galaxy. There is, however, a specific form of spacefaring life that is common to only one location in the galaxy: the Baltah'sine vacuum krill, found only in asteroids near to planet 4b. Krill, as we know from the history of Earth, were a tiny crustacean, crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside, and eaten in vast numbers by whales in Earth's oceans. They no longer exist in their natural environment, which led to the extinction on Earth of many species of filter-feeding crustaceans. Here in Baltah'sine, spacefaring xenobiologists discovered a creature, similarly crunchy on the outside, with a strong exoskeleton and softer on the inside. This hardened shell, despite the tiny size of the vacuum krill, is what gives it the ability to survive in space. They live clustered around water deposits on the rocky asteroids, which coincidentally have just about enough carbon on them to create a sustainable biome. The krill themselves are green and appear to use a process not unlike photosynthesis in plants to generate the energy they need. They have sharp mandibles, able to burrow into rock and extract the necessary minerals, and the icy water deposits provide the missing piece of the puzzle. They propagate from their watery homes by a process rather unceremoniously being referred to as spurting, quite simply ejaculating a bubble of liquid containing their progeny away from the surface of the asteroid. Tens of millions of the creatures spawn at once, giving the space around the asteroids a green, milky hue at certain times in their cycle. As with many creatures in the galaxy, humanity's first thought is to stick one in its mouth and see if it's edible. Which, by the way, it isn't. At least not without some preparation. Early pilots, having determined that they weren't actually toxic, soon discovered that the tiny burrowing creatures would make an awful mess of their insides if ingested alive, and killing them was very hard. However, using a combination of heat, a diamond-edged blender, or a microscope and some molecular tweezers, they discovered that the insides of the creatures were both delicious and nutritious. In more recent times, entrepreneurs visit the system at just the right time, harvesting floating vacuum krill and processing them en masse into the galaxy's smallest prawns. A vacuum krill prawn cocktail, complete with dodgy 1970s Marie Rose sauce, takes over a week to harvest. Buttery, Baltah'sine garlic krill is a tiny mouthful which will leave you begging for more. Popping a Baltah'sine Bellini into my mouth, the flavour is unlike anything else I've tasted. It has a metallic flavour, imparted from the minerals of the source asteroid, but cut through with a unique sweet tone from the natural sugars created from their basking in distant sunlight. It's rare, extremely rare. They can only be harvested when they're at the surface ready to spurt, or by scooping the gloop floating between asteroids. As for the danger, well, those tiny teeth, when they reach your ship's hull in the millions, will latch on and start to munch. No matter the engineering on your hull, they'll chew through just about anything, drawn towards the mineral components throughout your vessel. Any moisture, and they'll settle down, only to burst forth at the right part of their cycle. Even one left alive on your ship can turn into a big problem a few months later, as your ship is quite literally devoured from the inside out. Oh, and the equipment to prepare them? It's frighteningly expensive. This is Aemilia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Food Digest. We stick tiny krill on monofilament wires and barbecue them over a light bulb, so you don't have to. I'm off to devour 1 million or 2 of them as part of a sesame vacuum krill toast, and just exceedingly happy that I've not discovered their natural predator whilst floating around this rock.
Thank you very much, Aemilia. Right, lots of content on the show tonight, but we're coming along to the next bit of the show, which is going to be the Sky Tonight. Now, this is brought to you every single week by Commander Snos and Commander Rampage, and as they dig into some of the science behind the galaxy, the astronomical features of the galaxy that you can see as you're out there flying in your ship. I know we've covered all sorts of things in the last few weeks, but I think this is part 2 of a 2-parter. So please take it away, Commander Ventura.
Good evening and welcome once more to the Sky Tonight. I'm Sir Venny T, and as ever I'm here to guide you through the skies around Hutton, as well as the science, sights and sounds of the galaxy we call home. As always, I have with me to help educate, entertain and extirpate our correspondent from Whoop Nor, the supremely down to Hutton, the Northern Ninja himself, Norman Ski.
Hello everyone. This week, as promised, we'll be talking further about how supernovae come about and the various types that occur. I still want to know where's the champagne.
So,
what does it all mean?
He's supposed to say that.
Aye, what does it all mean?
As we explained last week, a supernova is a powerful and luminous stellar explosion. Supernovae are transient astronomical events that occur during the last evolutionary stage of a star's life cycle. Tonight we'll delve further and discover the various ways that they occur. Astronomers classify supernovae according to their light curves and the absorption of lines of different chemical elements that appear in their spectra. If a supernova's spectrum contains a line of hydrogen, it is classified type 2. Otherwise it is type 1. In each of these 2 types there are subdivisions according to the presence of lines from other elements or the shape of the light curve.
Light curves, you say? Like Aislinn Duval's?
No, but I can't deny she had lovely curves. Anyway, as I was saying, in the shape of the light curve. The light curve is a graph of the supernova's apparent magnitude or brightness over time.
Type 1 supernovae are typically subdivided on the basis of their spectra, with Type 1a showing a strong ionised silicon absorption line, Type 1 supernovae without this strong line are classified as Type 1b and 1c, with Type 1b showing a strong neutral helium lines and Type 1c lacking them.
The supernovae of Type 2 can also be subdivided based on their spectra. While most Type 2 supernovae show very broad emission lines which indicate expansion velocities of many thousands of kilometers per second, some have relatively narrow features in their spectra. These are called Type 2N, where the N stands for narrow, funnily enough. A few supernovae appear to change types, showing lines of hydrogen at early times, but over a period of weeks to months, becoming dominated by the lines of helium. The term Type 2b is used to describe the combination of features normally associated with types 2 and 1b. Type 2 supernovae with normal spectra dominated by broad hydrogen lines that remain for the life of the decline are classified on the basis of their light curves. Supernovae that do not fit into the normal classifications are designated peculiar, or PEC.
The supernovae type codes we've spoken about describe the light observed from supernova, not necessarily its cause. For example, Type 1a supernovae are produced by runaway fusion ignited on degenerate white dwarf progenitors, whilst the spectrally similar Type 1b or c are produced from massive Wolf-Rayet progenitors by core collapse. Let's look at what are currently believed to be the most plausible explanations for supernovae.
Type 1a supernovae are produced by thermal runaway. In this instance, a white dwarf star may accumulate sufficient material from a stellar companion to raise its core temperature enough to ignite carbon fusion, at which point it undergoes runaway nuclear fusion. There are three avenues by which this detonation is theorized to happen: stable accretion of material from a companion, the collision of two white dwarfs, or accretion that causes ignition in a shell that then ignites the core. Despite the general uncertainty over how Type 1a supernovae are produced, Type 1a supernovae have very uniform properties and are useful standard candles over intergalactic distances.
Type 1b C supernovae, on the other hand, come about through the process of core collapse. Very massive stars can undergo core collapse when nuclear fusion becomes unable to sustain the core against its own gravity. Passing this threshold is the cause of all types of supernova except Type 1a. The collapse may cause violent expulsion of the outer layers of the star, resulting in a supernova, or the release of gravitational potential energy may be sufficient and the star may collapse into a black hole or neutron star with little radiated energy, much in the same way Lale implodes when Cecil goes out on Raz.
Core collapse can be caused by several different mechanisms.
When a massive star develops an iron core larger than the Chandrasekhar mass, it will no longer be able to support itself and will collapse further to a neutron star or a black hole.
Electron capture by magnesium in a degenerate oxygen neon magnesium core causes gravitational collapse followed by explosive oxygen fusion with very similar results.
Degenerate? Like Don't Come Independence Party?
No, and let's keep politics even of that sort out of this.
A third mechanism is that of electron-positron pair production in a large post-helium burning core. Removes thermodynamic support and causes initial collapse followed by runaway fusion, resulting in pair instability supernova.
Finally, a sufficiently large and hot stellar core may generate gamma rays energetic enough to initiate photodisintegration, which will cause a complete collapse of the core.
And breathe.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Next week we'll take a look at one of my particular favourites of the night sky, the Pleiades.
No champagne?
No, this is an oasis of calm, not an oasis concert. Until next week, I've been Sir Rennie T.
And I drink my Fujian tea by putting my milk in the mug first.
Bug! He's been Norman Ski, and he's a Philistine.
And we're back. Oh, crikey. My brain is expanding every single week listening to that lot. Wouldn't you love to see one of those? Oh, but they're rare, aren't they?
Luckily for us.
They're very rare. But I'd love to see one of those, albeit from far away and not very close, because it might get a bit dangerous.
Isn't Beetlejuice one of the ones that could go any time?
What did you say his name three times?
Beetlejude is Commander Wotherspoon's new apprentice.
Yeah, it's not Beetlejude, Beetlejuice or better, guys.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, don't say it too many times, will you?
Yeah. Yep.
Otherwise,
if it goes, we won't know for 600 years, though.
Yeah, but only if we stand on Earth and look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not. We're at
No.
Hutton Orbital, which is a smidge closer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 596, 595.6.
Yeah, that's something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it hasn't gone yet. So
No.
obviously it's an overdue supernova.
Yeah.
Well, we've reached towards the end of the show now. We had a little bit of a late start, but and apologies once again on behalf of the apology officer for the technical problems we've had this week. We will be back next Thursday at 8:30 in the evening, approximately, if you're in the UK, or 7:30 if you're running on UTC, or something else if you're somewhere else in the world. This, of course, will be uploaded to all good podcast and YouTube and whatever else outlets after the show. So if you missed this and you are listening again, you've just managed to catch this on a catch-up service. Well done. Or you could listen to it again, I suppose, if you really wanted to. My thanks to the entire team. Thanks to Commander Wotherspoon and to Beetlejude for the Galnet News Digest. Thanks very much to LCU, No Fool Like One, for making everybody's ears bleed earlier. We can't work out whether it was genius or not, but we're going to go with genius because, yeah, it made me laugh anyway. And thank you very much to Snos and Rampage for the Sky tonight. And, of course, the live crew themselves, to Flossy.
Right, thank you.
To Deadmeat.
For the mug.
To the apology officer.
For the mug.
To Aemilia.
For the mug.
And Palantir.
It's always for the mug.
For the mug.
Last but not least, to Commander Ventura.
For the mug.
And, of course, to our listener, thank you very much indeed for tuning in. We will see you next week.
When it's green room time.
Yeah, green room week next week.
Ooh.
Oh, it is, yes. Come into the green room, say hi.
I'll bring the Dettol.
That was succinct.
And
well, that killed conversation.
For the mug!
Ventura! For the mug, quick! For the mug!
Get us out of the mug! Mug, go!
For the mug.
For the mug.
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mug, for the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, for the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug, for the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, for the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, for the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, for the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. day. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the bug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the bug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the bug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the bug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everybody's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?
This is a public announcement. You are cordially invited to join us in a rousing rendition of Kumbaya. 2, 3, 4. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya.
Nej,